Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. So let's get right to our show. I have you guys today here currently on season 4, episode number 5, on this Friday afternoon on the Fire Sports Pod. What a day and what a night we had last night in the NBA when it came to the draft. So we got our special guest X, my friend from Montclair, joining us in about 6 to 7 minutes or so, about 1:30, 1:32. So stay tuned to that. But at all things considered, we're going to be going over the NBA draft, first round and second round, and see where some of these picks have went. So let's go over that right now. But before I start, let me get my boy X into the show right now.
Sports podcast. I don't know if he could hear me.
I
Zach,
can hear you.
can
I got
you hear me? Give me 1 second. Let me outro some Drake and see if I could hear you. Can you hear us, Zach?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. And we got Zach live in the studio via base Zoom. Well, StreamYard. Shout out.
Yes.
Don't know who they are, but let me turn this Drake off.
You're good, man.
And then we're good. So we are live in the studio here in Montclair State. You're tuned in to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and you're listening to the best sports talk show in all the universe. That is Coin Toss. And then I also have with me my good friend from school, a good sports guy, and a very fire podcast, Zach. Do you want to introduce yourself to the live audience?
Sure. So thanks for having me on, X, here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. I've been doing this for about a year or so. My podcast has been popping off lately. We're currently on season 4, episode 5 right now, going live on the show. We're also on TikTok live here as well, X. So you can say hi to all the people out there as well.
What up, TikTok? I am live on IG, so we got almost every corner of the world of social media covered right now.
All right, that's awesome. I was going to go into the NBA, but I saw you on the thing, so I wanted to add you on before I started a little bit of the NBA talk.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. We have been talking about the NBA ourselves. I was just going over some of the recent moves. Emmanuel Quigley being re-signed with the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks moving. They ended up moving Tim Hardaway Jr. for 3 picks. No, Tim Hardaway Jr. and 3 picks for Quentin Grimes, also a former Knick. And then the other news that was up to 2 other newsworthy things of the sports world and the NBA world this offseason is the Warriors are looking to move their paying of $30 million to Chris Paul till Sunday, which is the 1st of July, so that they can have more time to solidify a trade option. They still want to give him his money, but they want to find him a trade option. And then the other big thing out of that team, the Warriors have blocked Andrew Wiggins from joining the Canadian national team because they are looking to move him this summer also.
Oh, wow.
2 trade options coming out for the Golden State Warriors. But I see you have your hat on. For people that are not watching right now, obviously I can't get the stream up. I wish I can. But like Zach said, if you want to tune in, he is on his TikTok live right now. And that's what, Zach? What's your TikTok account?
The Fire Sports Pod. The Fire Sports Pod.
That's all one word, no spaces?
Nah, you could do a space or you could do one word. It'll come up. Don't worry.
All right, perfect. So if you guys want to tune in because FCC rules, I can't tell you to do it, but cough, cough. You could tune in and watch visually either through Zach's podcast, the Fire Sports Pod on TikTok, or you could tune in through Real Coin Toss, all one word, on Instagram to watch at least my version. You can't see the both of us together, but to see Zach, you could tune into his TikTok. But either way, Zach, the big thing is I have the shirt on. I have the shirt on, and I'm a Knicks fan. I just like this vintage shirt. You have the hat on, and you're an actual fan. Yes. So what I was speaking about before you got on was the drafting of one LeBron James Jr. As a Lakers fan, I need to know, how did you feel about that pick? Do you think he's actually going to play or do you think he's going to be a G League player? And overall, what was your draft take for your team? Because you guys had some decent picks outside of obviously the nepotism pick at the 55th pick.
All right. So again, X, appreciate you coming on my show, and I appreciate you letting me join your show. As always, let's keep this going. But to answer your question, X, and answer a lot of questions that have been going on in my TikTok, and a lot of been people asking how did I like the Lakers trade or the Lakers pick for Bronny. I do think he's not. I do actually think of the all people. I don't think he's that bad. I actually think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be a G leaguer. And this is also not just because of LeBron James. Yes, he has pull, obviously, the Lakers and everything. There was a story that came out before he got drafted that he was threatening if any team would have taken him, he was going to play in Australia, overseas. So, which was did not surprise me. But at the first time me at work, I was like, damn. Okay, so I kind of already knew that the Lakers was going to pick him. I didn't think he was going to do that, but just wanted to make sure that nobody else picked him. I like it. It's great times in LA to have LeBron James Jr. and Bronny James and LeBron James Sr. play at the same team. I think they're going to be a great duel. The first lob is going to be hell. It's going to be great to see Bronny throwing it up or LeBron throwing it up to his son. We'll see what happens. Maybe they can recreate the Dwayne Wade to LeBron type lob. It might be something to see. Definitely going to be something to see. But I definitely think he's actually going to play. I think he's going to be an actual good. He's definitely not starting. He's going to be a backup. But I don't think he's going to be that third string that doesn't play. I think he's going to be a backup with Max Christie. Him and Max Christie kind of shadow themselves very good. You can have Max Christie as the point, Bronny at a shooting guard, or vice versa. Both are interchangeable at both positions. But I do think Bronny is going to play. And then the overall grade, I give ourselves a solid B+ to an A.
Okay.
I'm actually going to give that. The reason why is that Dalton Connect was a steal. The best, the steal of the draft. I'm sorry. If you think Sarr is better, yes, he's taller, he's this, he's whatever. Dalton Connect is the most complete NBA player, ready player in the draft. And the people that left him to 17 for the Lakers are going to be sorry. Because that you got Austin Reeves. And let me ask you a question, X.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect. They look very similar.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to get canceled on social media for saying that they do look the same, because the first thing I will hear is that I think all certain people look the same. But do they look similar? Maybe. Do they have a similar kind of game? Yes. Just one is a lot bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
Both catch and shoot kind of guys. Both are amazing off of a screen to get themselves into an open shot. And both they aren't super ball dominant, but both can be a ball dominant, create their own shot kind of guy. And, one of the things the Lakers have shown in this past season, and obviously the last couple of seasons, what they have lacked the biggest is shooters. And it's like you surround LeBron and AD with guys you assume to be able to keep that shooting stroke up. It didn't happen. It did not happen. D'Lo, he might still be shooting currently practice shots up in the stadium. So we know he didn't turn out how you wanted him to. Rui Hachimura, we had high hopes for Rui Hachimura. He's looking like more of a BC tier type player, not like a complete starter that you thought. They'll probably replace Rui with Dalton. Dalton will probably take the Rui spot. And you had what? Pope, and then you guys got rid of him to the Denver Nuggets. Like the
Caruso.
shooting has Caruso, got rid of him. Like, you've always had iffy 3-point shooting for the Lakers. You relied too much on the AD LeBron James combination. So I would like to see what happens now that you drafted Bronny. Definite shooter, shoots a lot better than his father. I know his college stats don't look amazing due to what happened, but he missed half of a college season due to having a heart attack, or cardiac arrest. That's the correct word. But seeing him and then seeing Dalton connect, and then also knowing you still have AR-15, like you have some shooters on that team now, at least on paper.
Yeah.
The way it forms on the court, it could be different. We should see what happens, but you have JJ Redick as a head coach, a shooter himself. I think the Lakers might have a revolution, a renaissance of sorts when it comes to shooting from behind the arc. And I think that'll be a big thing for your Lakers. But my next question for you, Zach, if you had to pick any other team, maybe a New York team, that's orange blue. If you had to pick, I didn't say anything, but you had to pick another team that had a great draft, who are you looking at to be like, wow, I want to see what these kids do after this draft? Who is a team that maybe not blew your mind, but caught your eye and you were like, oh, wow, that's actually a pretty good draft. I might want to take a look at what they do in the summer league.
Okay, so great question, X. As always, come with great questions, of course. Well, we've had a class together. We know how those questions come. But I'm actually going to go with I like. Don't get me wrong, the Knicks. I want to see how they do in general. I love the way they picked up Mikal Bridges. I love it. I think they're going to be really well. I think Stephen A. went a little overboard on the reaction, but it is great to see, and I think they have a complete team now. Finally, they have a complete team, and I would love to see them do it, just not even the summer league, just in general, their whole season. I can't wait to see what New York does. But to answer that question, when it comes to the draft, I want to see them Spurs, man. Oh, I love the draft 1 and the draft 2. They've picked up monster dudes. I cannot wait to see Castle with Victor, with whatever. Another team, Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves with Rob Dillingham. I want to see that duo. Holy shit. Excuse my language, but damn, that is one hell of a team right there. You now can say Rob can take the point guard duties and Mike Conley coming off the bench, or vice versa. That's a 1-2 punch coming off the bench. Either way, Mike Conley or Rob coming off the bench. I love that team. So those two teams really surprised me. And the Timberwolves are already there. They just need one piece. And I think that piece of Rob Dillingham as a point guard or as a backup, really they needed that help when Mike Conley got off the court or when Anthony Edwards got off. You can really hone in and be like it could be a pick and roll type action with Dillingham and Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert. Really help out Rudy Gobert because his offensive game kind of sucks.
Yeah.
He's much better in the post or on a pick and roll. He's not that fast, but he's huge. So you can really dump it down. And Rob's got some great vision, and his shot making ability coming off the pick and roll is absurd. So I would love to see those two teams in the summer league, how their rookies do. But I love the Spurs in general. I think they kind of stole the draft, I believe.
Yeah, it's that pick of Castle is going to be a game changer because you're looking at a point guard that not only can command a team, but a point guard with size.
Yes.
They are creating the monsters.
What is he, 6'9", 6'8"?
He might be what's his
I actually got it right here.
Oh, you got it right there?
Yeah, he's 6'6", 210 pounds.
And to think that's the guy that's gonna get a pick from Victor Wembanyama, 7'6", and what are you stopping there in that situation? There's no way you stop that pick and roll. They end up being one of the best duos that quite possibly show up onto a court at 6'6", and then I think Wemby is 7'6",
7'4",
7'4". Okay.
Yep.
I don't want to give him too many inches, but
well, he's already 7'4". That's a lot of inches there already.
I mean, he's going to keep growing. I heard there's a quite possibility. There's
he's
a good
only,
possibility
19,
that he's
20?
Yeah, 18, 19 years old. Still hasn't even hit the 20 yard yet. So that's some great stuff. And for the listeners only, if you want to tune in, like I said, we are live on Zach's TikTok, Fire Sports, the Fire Sports podcast. And right now he has up a live look at the 2024 draft order. So if you want to see who got drafted at what, all my people that are watching via Instagram on Real Coin Toss, or anybody that's listening only, you guys could tune in and see what we're looking at here at the draft. So if you're looking at this first round, besides Dalton Connect, who's another steal you think that came in this draft?
So if I'm looking at the draft right here,
In this first round, at least.
yeah, the first round. I like Alex Sarr. Obviously, wasn't a steal, but I think the Wizards got a 7-footer with 224 pounds that can kind of shoot the rock, and he's a forward. He's not even a center, and he's 7 foot. So I think the Atlanta Hawks. I definitely lost the draft. They basically got a role player. I hate to say it, but this Zach kid is. I don't think he's going to be that good. He's a role player. I don't understand what the Hawks are doing. I would have thought they would have picked Alex Sarr. But to answer your question, I think the steal of the draft, people are saying that Reed Sheppard is not good. You're out of your mind. I think the Rockets got another steal with picking up Reed Sheppard for Kentucky. I watched every Kentucky Wildcats game. I'm a Kentucky Wildcats fan through and through. My dad went to that college. So I'm a diehard Kentucky Wildcats fan. So you can obviously see how pissed off I would have been when we lost our great coach. My man Calipari. So when he left, that was kind of a dung moment. But Reed Sheppard, by far, he's 6'2". He's not some big monster dude, but that dude had the best 3-point percentage in the league in college basketball, and he hit it at a high clip. Yes, he didn't come to play in the first round, but other than that, every freaking game, he was hitting over 3 threes a game. I think that's a steal. Even though he went 3, a lot of people are clowning the Rockets. I don't understand why. What are your take, X? I want to see what you thought about Reed Sheppard. Do you think he's going to be that guy?
So I'm a Duke fan. I grew up. I grew up being a Duke fan. I grew up watching that era of Kyrie Irving, even though he only played a handful of games and a little bit before Kyrie. But I think Reed is going to be a great player. When I mean a great player, I feel like people are underestimating his shooting ability. And let me bring up some of his stats. Hold on. And Reed Sheppard, right?
Yep, Reed Sheppard from Kentucky.
Oh no, they don't have him on StatMuse yet. Let's see if they got we'll just find another place for college talent. But
I actually got it.
You got his numbers?
Yeah, I got his numbers. So Reed Sheppard, his hold on.
I got him too.
Oh, you got him too? All right, you go. I'm still looking for it. All right, go.
All right. So what I'm looking at is 16 points a game.
Off the bench.
It's looking like. Wow, no available. Wow. Oh, because that's why.
He came off the bench too. Don't forget that.
It's showing. Okay, there we go. Here we go. So the 2023-2024 season as a total, he was able to shoot at a clip of 53%, about 54% from the floor, and 52% from 3. 52% from behind the 3. And he was an 83% free throw shooter. And I mean, at that point, that's a gigantic steal, because most people are going to assume, and it wasn't 16, it was 12.5 points a game.
That's still great in college.
Coming off the bench, shooting over 50% from the field and behind the arc. He's easily on course to be a 50-40-90 guy. Easily a 50-40-90 guy. So you're looking at another Steph Curry, the white Steph Curry. That's the way I've been seeing it on Twitter. I've been seeing conversations of him being an elite level 3-point shooter, and we're talking like Jimmer Fredette level good. Unfortunately, if Jimmer's college career wasn't what his NBA career was, or his NBA career wasn't what his college career was. But I think Reed going to the Rockets might actually be a big step forward for them. They have a very young team with a lot of young players now that are growing up together, making a core friendship, just like how the Knicks are rebuilding Villanova in New York.
Yep.
You have like a college atmosphere in Houston right now, and you have a young head coach who is proven that even with that that young Rockets roster, Ime Udoka has proven he could still coach. They
Oh,
almost made the playoffs.
they
They
did.
almost,
They went. I think they went like 12-2 in the last 14 games, and they lost to the Warriors 3 games before the end of the season, and that was the one that really took them off the playoffs. But if they would have won that game, they would have made it.
They were right there. So getting more pieces of available shooting, and not just any shooter, you're getting probably the best shooter in the first round. I'll give it to you. I will give it to you. That is a big, huge steal for them in the first round. And let's take a look at the second round. Who are your steal picks in the second round? Because obviously we could look at some other great picks here, but I know them second round picks have been some great players. One of them being former MVP and former NBA champion Nikola Jokic, second round guy that his pick wasn't even announced on TV. There was a commercial for Taco Bell going on at that point in time. So let's look at that second round, second round, second day of the draft. Who are your steals for that second round?
So before we go to the second round, if I can just tell these tell the sports world, the audience that are watching, if there is one more steal that's in the first round, and if you don't think so, I think then you're living under a rock.
Okay.
You guys understand who Isaiah Collier, the guard from USC? He got hurt 6 games into the season. This man was averaging over 15 a game, almost 20 points a game. This man was the heart and soul of the USC Trojans. And then Bronny came in later in the year, and they really couldn't have a season together. So I really think Isaiah is going to be one of the best talents out of this draft. That's how confident I am. He's 6'3", 206 pounds. He moves fast as hell. He can handle the basketball and can shoot the rock. He's a great passer. Just look up, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Isaiah Collier, look up his highlights of the first couple games he had in USC. This man can do some stuff on the basketball court. So I would say Utah's got a great guard. They needed one after the departure of Colin Sexton and a couple years back. They don't really have a point guard in Utah. Now they finally got one. I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Utah when it comes to just continuity. I think the Jazz are very good in developing players. You saw how Donovan Mitchell came, Rudy Gobert, a couple other guys that came from there, Colin Sexton. So I think Isaiah Collier is in a good spot. It's a good spot.
All right.
Draft 2, like we said, I'm gonna
round 2.
So now, just going over some. I'm
gonna tell you at the 34th pick, the Portland Trailblazers traded away that pick to the Knicks. So the player was drafted by Portland, but is coming to New York.
I think that's a
Tyler I can't pronounce Kolek. The highlights I saw, this guy was looking like a playmaker. You get him on a screen driving to the hole, just chalk the assist up onto the board. Just give him the assist. Him driving and pulling players into him, leaving his teammates available for easy layups and threes in the corner, was unbelievable to watch. The round players, the wraparound behind the backs. This kid can pass the ball. And not only can he pass, he has the size to defend at almost all 5 positions. What can you go back up for a second so I can take a look? Where are we looking? He's 6'1", 197, but plays like he's like a solid 6'3", 225 kind of guy. Hard nose, went to Marquette, so that's where Dwayne Wade went. They make some hard hard players out of Marquette. So that's one of the few steals that I have in this second round. A lot of people graded Tyler actually as a first round talent for some teams. A lot of teams didn't think he'd fall that far in. So that's a big steal for the New York Knicks right there. But another one that is going to be sounding like I'm just riding the Knicks bandwagon, which I'm fine with admitting to maybe a little bit, but they got themselves McCullough. I can't pronounce that one also.
Where is this? Where's he at?
He's bottom half of the draft, and he was drafted for them. Slow down. Go back down to the Knicks. Keep going. There he is. Drafted by the Suns.
Got it.
Kevin
McCullough Jr.
Yes, from Kansas, 6'5", 206, huge frame, athletic. I watched a game between Marquette and Kansas during the Hawaii opener tournament, the invitational tournament time when the season hadn't started yet. Those two went at it.
Yeah.
Those two went at it.
He's not bad. I like him.
They got real size, and the big important thing for the Knicks was they couldn't take too many first rounders because they wanted the cap space to quite possibly re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein this offseason when free agency starts this Sunday. So moving these guys into second round picks, and they have some of them have first grade talents. I'm gonna have to give my team an A. At minimum a B+ for their draft this year.
I agree. I actually was going to give the Knicks a solid A, not even below that. I like the way they did it. But if I could forward some more steals, but before I answer that, I had a question on the live before that, so I'm going to answer that X and just
go ahead.
So JMS said, how do you think Bronny will perform in the next level? So my answer to that, X, if you would want to answer this after I can, then you can as well. But my answer to that would be, I think he's going to perform well. I don't think he's going to be a superstar. I don't think he's going to be dropping points all left and right, and he's going to be starting. No, not his first year or two, but he is going to play a significant role in what happens this year and next year for the foreseeable future when it comes to LeBron. LeBron is most likely going to sign a 3-year max deal worth $160 million with the Lakers, which means that will put him through 2028, 2029 season. And I believe that 2027, 2028 season, Bryce is eligible to be drafted. If not that 28, 29. So he'll probably play one more year with his son, Bryce and Bronny, to make that a trio, most likely. But I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to be a great defender. I don't care about the size. Size don't make a defender. Ask Patrick Beverly. It does not make the defender. It actually cares about your heart, your dedication, your willingness to play defense. And if you can be that size at 6'1", 6'2", and you play defense, you'll play. And he can shoot the rock. He can pass the ball. He can make extremely good plays, and he's smart. He's not a dumb player. He knows what he's doing, and he's got his dad there. There's no way this kid does not play. There's no way this kid doesn't flourish. He's going to have a great thing. All the people that are saying, oh, he's not going to do well because of his dad, you're out of your freaking mind and you don't know basketball. I'm sorry. Because if you ever watch LeBron James and you actually watched him and not a biased, I'm not biased. You literally watch LeBron. He has made crappy players into pretty good players. Tristan Thompson should not have gotten a $60 million contract. He got a $60 million, $78 million contract because he was playing with LeBron James, and LeBron made him a pretty good defender as well as a big man when playing in Cleveland. So I don't want to hear any of that. And Kevin Love got his flowers as well. Kyrie Irving, he's done tremendous things with players that have less talent. J.R. Smith was good, but he didn't get recognized until he won that 2016, that 2015 when they played in the finals. Like, you got to understand, there was no like Amon Shumpert. No one knew who the hell this guy was. Even on the Knicks, he wasn't like all world.
That's like, very true.
You couldn't ask somebody, a random person, oh, you know who Amon Shumpert is? No. Now people know him. He played with LeBron. That's why. So now I'll let you answer that. So what do you think about?
Well, for me personally, I think LeBron James Jr. is going to be a good player in the NBA, regardless of what most people think. Nepotism aside, people forget one of the more important things about being an athlete is your genetic makeup. Like being athletic is a very genetic kind of thing. So that's why you see a lot of people that may have been amazing high school athletes, but never took it to the next level. And then if you go look at who their parents were, like their parents weren't college players. They weren't D1 level college players, you know, and that kind of, it's not just about the physical genetics, but your mental genetics that come with it.
Yep.
LeBron has played at the highest level everywhere he's ever been. If you don't think he's taught his sons to have a strong mental, to be able to take on things the way they have in their lifetime, knowing that their father is who their father is, you would be crazy to think that LeBron James did not teach his son that, you know, failure comes with playing sports. Failure is something that you're gonna face regardless of what level of good or where you are in your trajectory in the world of sports. Just because you might not have been the best college player doesn't mean you're not going to be an all-star level basketball player. And just because you were amazing in college doesn't mean you're going to be amazing in the NBA. So
Yep.
I think that there are too many tools around Bronny to fail. You know, we've seen a lot of NBA stars, sons come into their own and not flourish. It happens a lot of times, but he's LeBron James's son. It's almost impossible for him to do bad. His father is his teammate. You know, he's going to be going home, obviously, until he gets his own place with his dad. They
Yeah.
could carpool. You think that car ride? We've all had that car ride before with your dad after a bad game. We all know how bad that sucks. If you've played sports as a guy, you know what that's like. Your
Yep.
dad sits there real quiet for a couple minutes. You sit there quiet. Nobody says anything. And then he's like, "You really messed up on that one. You dropped that pass, or
Yeah.
shit,
Yep.
could have made that shot." So I highly doubt LeBron's going to let his son fall to the wayside. Maybe his career starts in the G League, and then they work him into the starting lineup for
Okay.
the big team. I could see that happening. But one thing I do know is, besides having his dad, JJ Redick has probably known him his whole life,
Yep.
because JJ has known LeBron his whole playing career. So now that you have a guy that's known you since you were yay big as your head coach, and then one of your teammates is not only your father, but probably the second best, if not the best player to ever play the game you are playing in as a pro, I just don't see why you fail, especially with the team you're on, the facilities. It's not like you're in Washington. It's not like you're playing for Detroit. You're
Yep.
playing in LA. You got the crowd, you got the fans, you got the coaching, the facilities, the everything. So I think Bronny James ends up being a pretty decent player. I don't know if he's all-star level. You could quote me on this. You could, screenshot this, whatever you want to say, but I don't think he'll be an all-star level player. I don't think he'll be an all NBA level player, but there are players in this NBA that are known for other things besides being the face of a franchise or one of the top 20 best players in the league. There are over 20 players in the NBA.
Yeah.
And a lot of them get paid good money to be role players. He's one of them.
Yep. I definitely agree. But before that, X, I just have a couple questions I have to answer on my live.
That's good. Let me go to a quick break here live on radio, and then we'll continue on with your questions.
Gotcha.
You guys have been listening to 90.3 WMSC. We're coming to the bottom of the hour right now. So I'm going to send you guys on a quick break, get some ads in, right? And then after those ads have been done, we will be right back with Zach to continue our conversation in the sports world on basketball, get a little football in, maybe even a little soccer for you guys. But until then, you've been tuned in to WMSC 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning social thing than it was an academic thing? I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel.
All right,
it was
Zach,
very difficult to be
can you hear
gay.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All these years have passed. I still had that longing.
You can hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you because I have to turn your mic off.
Oh, good. What I'll do is I'll just mute the thing.
I wish I could hear what
She
you were
convinced
saying
me
right now.
to continue my education and to finish.
All right, so guys, so X just went to a commercial break for his show. I'm gonna answer a couple questions. Cassius, I know you said Kevin Love and JR both were very great players. I could say, yeah, Kevin Love was a great player. He in Minnesota. He was a good bona fide player. But at the same time, Kevin Love didn't get the recognition that he deserved in Minnesota. But once he got a championship and was winning in Cleveland, that's when he got his recognition as a great player. J.R. Smith, yes, he played good with the Knicks. He wasn't considered a great player. You can ask anybody in the sports world. I believe that J.R. Smith is not a great player, was not considered a great player. He was a good player. He wasn't a great player. LeBron kind of put him on another pedestal of a shot-making dude that literally catch and fire, shoot, make. He's a knockdown shooter. He got that movement in the seasons with LeBron. J.R. Smith was known as a high flyer, knock down some shots. Whatever. He was a good player. LeBron put more into it as getting his teammates better. And that's what matters. And that's what people lose about. Now, Ryan, you said, well, the New York Giants are going to win the Super Bowl. That's not happening. The Knicks are going to win the NBA Finals. Cannot put that aside. That could maybe happen. The New York City Football Club is going to win MLS Cup Final. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Now, for Cassius, you said, how do you think the Grizzlies did this draft? Now, the Grizzlies, Cassius, let's see. Actually, let's go over their picks, and let's see how they get. Zach Edey, definitely great pick. I love Zach Edey. I think that was a great pick from Purdue. This guy was the biggest dude in the draft. I like Zach Edey. You definitely lost a big in Steven Adams, so getting another big in Zach Edey at 7'4", 299. Now, will he be able to move fast and jump around? Not really, especially how fast John Morant moves. And that team, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to get under the swing of things, but I think John Morant's going to love that man, setting screens, throwing lobs, doing all that. And then another pick, that was it for the Grizzlies in the first round, I believe. So if we move to the second round, they had a pick of Jalen Wells, forward for Washington State, 6'7", 206. He's not bad, a solid pick. I don't think he's all world, but he's definitely a solid pick. And then the Grizzlies at the 56 got Ulrich Chamachi, NBA academic African, 6'10", 232. Cameron, I really don't know too much about that guy. I would say you guys got a solid draft. I would give you guys a B- for the draft. Cassius, that's the draft I would give grade. I would give you guys. Grizzlies winning the championship. I think that's a little stretching it a little bit. But maybe. Don't forget, guys, to share the live, like the live, and drop a follow if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support out there. But let's get back to the live with X and see where he's at right now. All right, so I believe X is still on a commercial break. But yeah, we're definitely going to be probably moving on from the NBA right now. We're going to just touch a little bit on the NFL, and then we'll finish up with maybe some soccer, depending on the time limit. But I definitely want to hit some NFL talk right here. But that's pretty much it for the NBA draft. Let me see if X is still on board here.
So I hope. Oh, perfect. I just saw recording resume. So this will be recorded, and I could then hope that I could send it to this person. This is a big, very special belated birthday shout out to the one most important woman on this world to coin toss, and that is Jen Sanchez our social media manager, and the lovely lady that jumps on the mic with us sometimes here in the studio. Jen just turned 21 or 22, everybody. So I want to give Jen her glory and her little minute of fame. So let's get a big shout for happy birthday for the one and only Jen Sanchez, baby. Shout out, Jen. We really appreciate you, homie. I know you probably aren't tuned in, which I should have texted you ahead of time to let you know to tune in and listen to this birthday shout out. But my phone is being occupied with the live right now, and I don't feel like texting through my computer. But I just want to say happy birthday, friend. I appreciate everything you have done for Coin Toss. You've been nothing but a gigantic help throughout the school year and through the summertime, putting aside for us. So thank you, Jen. You're the man. So I had to get that out the way.
I love it. I love it. Always supporting your crew. That's what I love to see. But I have a big question here from Cassius on our live.
Okay.
Right before we're gonna move on to the NFL, he just said before we go to the football, the Clippers have until Saturday to sign Paul George. Do you think they will? I got the question for you, X. I'm gonna let you answer it first, since you're also a guest on my show. I'm gonna let you answer that question first. Do you think Cassius is asking? You think the Clippers will sign Paul George, or you think he goes somewhere else?
All right. So to answer Cassius' question, I think the Clippers obviously want him back at a subdued price range, though, due to the fact that they have not been able to win anything, and they've had him now for multiple years. You've had him for at minimum, I think, 4 or 5 years on contract. And in that 4 or 5 years, what's the best you guys have done? Not even a conference final. I don't even
last time was 2020 in the bubble.
Yeah.
And no.
Wouldn't it be the bubble? Wouldn't it be?
I mean, it's either Denver we played in the conference finals, or it was the Clippers. I think it was
No, it was Denver. It was Denver
in the conference. We played them in the semifinals.
So that's what I'm saying. The best turnout the Clippers have had with him as 1A or 1B, depending on who's healthy between him and Kawhi Leonard. The best you've done with them two as a tandem is semifinals in the Western Conference. So you're going to ask him, hey, listen, we love you. We want you back on this team. New stadium, finally our own stadium that's not the sharing with the Lakers. You got your own stadium, your own fans, a whole new, jerseys, all this new fun stuff. But you're going to be like, listen, we're going to need you at a price. We're going to need you at a price. We're not going to go past a certain price. And I think that leads to him to obviously be like, listen, I love you guys, but I'm going to touch free agency, because I'm sure the Sixers, of all teams, now that the Knicks have made their trade, made their move, and got Mikal, the Sixers are a team that needs somebody. And it's not like we don't know it. Joel Embiid very intentionally did this on live air. Yeah, we just need to make a few moves this summer, get some all-star level players, and maybe one move. Like, it's that obvious, teams like the Sixers that have the cap space and can throw a bag at somebody. Obviously, they need to tie down Tyrese Maxey, which I think they offered him a contract extension this summer, a $200 million max deal. But if you're any team that's not the Clippers, you're getting together almost all the money you can for a Paul George, who, yes, is like 34, maybe, but he's 35, might even be 36. I don't know. You could help me out with his age, but he's old. You're not 34. 34. You're not gonna give a 34-year-old that has never made an NBA final. I don't think he's ever made a final. I think he's made a conference final, and that was back when he was with the Pacers.
When he versed Miami.
Yeah. So you haven't seen playoff pastures, like finals and higher level pastures, since you were darn near a rookie. Why am I gonna, if I'm the Clippers, why am I gonna give you $200 million? You haven't showed the reason, any reason for me to give you that level of money. 150, 100. The deal that Toronto gave Quigley, I give to him.
Yeah, which was what, 5 year, 2 million?
5 years, 175.
175. Okay.
Paul George is way better than that, but due to age, due to health, and due to lack of success in postseason, I would not be giving him any more than like a 4 year, 175, 3 year, 175, maybe.
I agree with that. I would probably go with a 4 year, 150. I'm actually going to go even lower. But we had also another person that said, Aiden, PG to the Warriors would be interesting.
That was a conversation that has been floated around a lot this summer. Nice. And I think that's a possibility only if Klay Thompson takes a deal. Like, they're going to have to take a deal because Klay has already came out and said he wants a 3-year extension from whoever signs him.
Now, this is what I think. Klay leaves. I think Klay goes to Dallas. Or I think Klay goes to the Mavericks. Paul George comes in and gets signed by the Warriors.
Yeah, if Klay walks and the Warriors don't re-sign Klay, I could see a scenario where Paul George doesn't want to leave the West Coast. He's from LA. It'd be too much to be making the move, quite possibly all the way to Philly, is the opposite side of the country all over again, making that big of a move. So I could see where the Warriors have enough money if Klay walks, and I don't know if they've re-signed Draymond to what the deal was that they offered Draymond, because I know they offered him an extension, but he did. He may have signed it. I just don't know the money wise of how big it is.
I got you right now. It's a 4 year. What the? My bad. Oh no.
What do we got there?
Oh, what the hell? Extension. Okay, hold on. Free agent forward Draymond Green has agreed to a 4-year, $100 million contract with a player option in the final season to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors.
See, that's the kind of deal that I'm saying. Like, he took a deal at $100 million because Draymond could have easily got 150. Because one thing we know about Draymond, he may have behavioral issues and doesn't know how to keep his cool on the court. Quite possibly, but one thing we can't take away from Draymond is he is a defensive lock.
Yeah.
At all 5 positions. He's way worth more, in my opinion, than $100 million. He's way older, obviously, but with the championship pedigree that he has and still being such a defensive lock, I would give him more than $100 million. So the fact that he took the $100 million, that was his way of, trying to be like, all right, let's keep this team together.
Yep.
But the problem is, will Klay take that kind of deal? And if Klay's not taking that kind of deal, then you look to Paul George and you're like, listen, you want to stay here, you want to play with us and quite possibly compete at a high level, you have to take the deal that we were going to give Klay. Whatever the deal is that they're probably offering Klay, it's probably the same deal that they're going to hand over to Paul George. Not too much.
A little bit more money or an extra year.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think Klay Thompson gets a better deal than Paul George. He has a relationship. He was loyal to the team. He's won 3 championships with the team. If you're offering more money to one of the two, you're giving it to the guy that's been there, done that with you already.
That's true. I like that. I actually like that take. I definitely agree with that. I forgot about that. But yeah, you would think the only thing is that Paul George, you have now, remember, Klay's got the bad, even though, well, I can't really say that. Paul George has some bad injuries, but he's came back much better than what Klay Thompson has came back from.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me to answer the question that Cassius gave us, I would definitely, I'm going to go with either Philly, the Warriors. The Heat are a sneaky team, but I don't know if they got the money to do it. And
I don't know. They have to worry about keeping Jimmy first.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say those two definitely, and then the Heat are on the outskirts. And then obviously the Clippers stay with that. But then Jamal Murray got paid yesterday. That was great to see. Finally, the man got recognized for what he's done to that organization for his whole career, basically. Mm-hmm. I think that was great to see. I love Jamal Murray getting, even though he screwed over my Lakers 2 years in a row. But it is what it is. The guy's a baller. He finally deserves what he's gotten. And I think he's going to do some damage in the next couple years to finish out his career. But I definitely think we should maybe pivot to the NFL. Think we were 50 minutes into my show. I got maybe the next 10 minutes or so. So I want to maybe talk some little football. I got some stories I got to talk to you about, see what your thoughts are on.
All right. Hit me with them, bud.
All right, cool. So guys, we're going to transition into the NFL right now. After a frustrating 2023, Giants head coach Brian Daboll preparing to right the ship in the pivotal 2024 campaign. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. They're freaking off. Their wide receivers, I cannot get around it. They let go basically everybody. They have no Saquon anymore. Their running back room sucks. And I know I'm a Cowboys fan. You might think I'm biased, but legitimately I'm saying it. I think no one really is talking about the Giants. And then you got Danny Dimes, which the only dimes he throws is to the other team. You know I'm right.
All right.
I'm not even being biased. That's just straight, literally facts. Like, that's exactly what happens.
So I will agree with you. Danny Dimes has a turnover issue. He's cleaned it up over this last season. So I'll give him that. He's lowered the amount of picks he's thrown and fumbles he's given up. Yes, we did let Saquon walk out the door, but I cannot wait for Hard Knocks, because the Hard Knocks this year is with the Giants preseason. Ooh. So one of the clips that was leaked in the promo was Joe Shane on the phone with Saquon and saying to Saquon, are you going to give us a chance, or are you not going to give us a chance? So we may find out that Saquon is an actual trader who decided that, screw it. I'm not going to stay with these guys. Why should I stay with them? They haven't won anything with me. I have done all the with them, and they haven't done anything. I want to go get paid and play for a team that wins. Let's be honest. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts have not been a winning team. And yes, I know during the regular season, everybody's going to say, oh, they won 12 games. They were 12-0 until they lost their first game. And we have a lot of Philly fans here on campus. So they're going to argue, this, that, and the third about them. Why do you play the game? Do you play it to be the best regular season team? Because if that's what the whole thing is, the Knicks should have gotten an award this year for being one of the best regular season teams in the NBA this year. The Western Conference was full of teams that were a top level 60 win level teams in the West. It's just that they have to play each other to get to where they're getting to. So I know it's not about the regular season. If it was about the regular season, the Cowboys would be America's team, even though they are. But unless America's a loser, I don't see how that title abides any longer.
Exactly.
But if it's a regular season thing, yes, the Eagles are a great regular season team under Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts also has proven they haven't won jack squat in the postseason with him and Nick Sirianni as a head coach. And I know Philly fans would be like, oh, just wait and you see, we already won a championship with Sirianni, That was luck. If anything, that was luck. I don't know. Yeah, they won with Sirianni yet?
No, they went to the Super Bowl to play Kansas City. They lost by like 4.
That's right. That was the only postseason success they've had under Jalen and Nick. Other than that, they're not a postseason. They're not a dynasty. You've done it once. You collapsed last season. And after having the season where you were in the Super Bowl, you collapsed that bad. They lost 7 out of their last 8 or 6 out of their last 7 to end the season.
They were 9-1.
They're like
10-7 or like 9-8, something like that.
They were horrendous the second half of the year. So I personally think that even though we let Saquon walk and he thinks he's going to be on a better team, and our wide receiver room is still something to be seen since the best wide receiver we have is a rookie, I think the Giants will be fine. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to do what they do every year. Become an 800 team, 500 team, squeak by with a wild card. Not going to say they're going to go on a Super Bowl run because I don't think Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future. But the Giants are a notorious regular season mediocre squad that in the postseason somehow find the magic that puts them through. I'm not saying this team will be that, but I don't think they'll be as bad as last year. I think they'll be a lot more improved. And my biggest inkling to that is defense. The Giants defense is going to be a defense that people are going to have to fear. Their linebacking core has been graded as one of the better linebacking cores in the NFL by Pro Football Focus. Their defensive line now with Brian Burns, who can play both linebacker and D-line. Think about that. Brian Burns on one end, Thibodeau on the other, and right down the middle, you still have the amazing tackle that is Dexter Lawrence. Offensively, we may have problems, but defensively we won't. And I think the Giants will settle down on that defense. But that is one question. Here's your question, Zach. You're a Cowboys fan, and there's been a lot of drama around your team this summer. Your owner, we all know, does not know how to keep his mouth shut. So that always puts the team behind the 8 ball in situations of social media. And your head coach is also, there's been reports that your head coach is even tired of Jerry opening his mouth and putting certain expectations on your team. Yep. So this season will be Dak's last under contract. He will need a new contract. CeeDee will also need a new contract. There are a lot of top level players on that team that need new contracts. If you guys don't make a Super Bowl, what is your level as a fan? Where do you say this was a successful season? Is it conference champion? Is it divisional champion? Or is it Super Bowl champion? And second part of the question, if you don't reach whatever that level of success is deemed in your eyes, who gets the new contracts? Is it CeeDee? Is it Dak? Do you even keep Mike McCarthy? Do you go with a different head coach? What are you doing if they don't reach a certain level in your eyes for success?
Okay, great question. So the first question I will answer is our ownership. Obviously the only way that Jerry Jones goes bye-bye is if he croaks and ends his life. That's the only way. It's not going to happen because you have his son and then his son's son. So it's just going to keep going and going and going. And
his daughter also is a part of the team too.
Huh?
His daughter is also a part of the team too.
Oh,
ownership-wise, yeah. So it's just all the Joneses. You're keeping up with the Joneses is literally what your team is.
I don't know, dude. I actually do think though.
What's the level of success? What is deemed a successful season for you? Where in the playoffs is it? Divisional champ, conference champ, or Super Bowl champ?
So we haven't won a Super Bowl or been to a Super Bowl in 30 years.
Yep.
I wasn't even alive to even see that goddamn thing.
I was born that year that the last championship you won.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
So my God, they really definitely suck. But I would definitely say it's gotta be. I'm sorry. If you as a Cowboy fan think that an NFC championship is a successful year, then you are not a real Cowboy fan. It's been 30 years. It's been 20 long. Well, I should say I started watching football when I was 5, 6. It's been 14 long, miserable years when we had a team in 2014 with Tony Romo and that bull crap call that kind of would have cost us probably the Super Bowl because I think we had the team to beat Brady. He had the defense. Everyone was healthy. Finally, Murray was healthy. Dez was healthy. Romo was healthy. Sean Lee was healthy. Ware was healthy. We were just a monster. And I think we would beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. We would have torched Seattle, and Brady would have been a showdown between Brady and Romo. And it would have been like a Manny type, Eli type Brady, Peyton type Brady Super Bowl. That's how I was kind of feeling it. But we never got the shot. Then we had a shot in 2016 when Dak came in and went 13-3, where we played Green Bay down by 23, 25 points at half, came all the way back, and then he did a bull crap throw to the corner. Max Crosby hits a 3, and we lose in playoffs.
Yeah.
We had that game against the Rams when when the coaching staff decided, I believe in 2018, when we decided to play in the divisional round to go to the NFC Championship against the Rams. We decided to run right up the middle with Zeke. When we have Aaron Donald and that monster of a defense, and I believe if we would beat the Rams, Brady scored 13 points in that Super Bowl. And we had the better defense, I believe, than the Rams did, because we only held that high-powering offense to only like less than 20 points. So I believe we would have played well. And I'm not making excuses. This is just what happened. And then we had a chance the last 3 years, 12-5. The first year we lost in San Francisco in the first round. Should have beat them. Second year, we lost to San Fran again. We should have beat them. And then the third year, last year, we lost to Green Bay and got absolutely dismantled. Should have never lost to them. So it's just been bad season after bad season after disappointing after disappointing. So it is a Super Bowl or bust. If we don't win a Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy's gone. Dak Prescott is either going to be gone. It depends on how he does. Now, if he rides us to an NFC Championship game and we lose because of a bad call or we lose because of a bad defensive play, he gets another contract. I think Dak is getting another contract if he gets to the NFC Championship game. He don't get into an NFC Championship game, we might be looking for another quarterback. But at the same time, is there another quarterback out there? No.
That does become the issue. You don't know where that next guy comes from. We haven't seen anybody in college yet that we could say is a solidified, bona fide starter. This draft class was the draft class. If you needed a future franchise quarterback, this was a draft class to go get that guy. Don't know how the 2025 class is going to look. Should be interesting. So you feel at minimum for Dak to get a contract, he needs to be an NFC champion?
Yeah, and I do, and I'm one of Dak's biggest fans. You can ask my dad. You can ask anybody that's been a Cowboys fan. I always back up Dak. I always say I give him the benefit of the doubt. That Green Bay Packers loss is not all on him. That's on Mike McCarthy, and that is on Dan Quinn and that freaking defense, because they couldn't stop a nosebleed for their life. I don't know how you can go through you play man coverage. This is what we play all year. I play the Cowboys on Madden. I love playing with Madden. I've studied the game of football. I know the ins and outs, the X's and O's. I know what defense. You see it on TV. I know it's a cover 2. I know it's a cover 4. We play man coverage every freaking time. The whole year. We change it for Jordan Love. Why?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, obviously the defensive calls were miscellaneous at the best when it came to the Jordan Love game. He literally tore you guys apart. But my real question then is, if Dak is getting a contract after NFC Championship, does that mean you guys are extending Mike McCarthy? Because you already let your offensive coordinator go. I believe the former head offensive coordinator is gone, and Mike McCarthy is calling calls now offensively. And if I'm correct in this statement, also your defensive coordinator is also gone, which is Dan Quinn or Zimmer.
No, Dan Quinn left. Now Mike Zimmer's the new defensive head coach.
Yes. So yeah, Dan Quinn left. Mike Zimmer's the new guy. So you got new head coach, new offensive calling coach, even though I think Mike called it this past season after Kellen Moore left. So are you extending Mike if you get an NFC championship? And if you fall short of that conference championship, where on the scale, let's say you win the division, but you don't win the conference championship, you say you lose in the semis, is that enough to keep Mike McCarthy? Or are you looking for more from Mike McCarthy to get a contract out of Jerry if you're Jerry?
Okay, so great question again. For me as a Cowboy fan, and not even just a fan of the game, if I'm looking at it correctly, Mike McCarthy did not get an extended contract. Why? Because there's a man called Bill Belichick waiting out there in the fields and waiting and just waiting and watching. Mm-hmm. This is why. Now, Jerry Jones is a stupid man. I'm sorry. He's an idiot. But he's actually might not be that dumb because he might be doing. Now, I'm hoping. Now, if he goes and we get bounced in the wild card round or the first round or the second round and this man literally extends Mike McCarthy, then you know what? All hell with him. He's just delusional. I don't know. Yeah. But to answer the question of what you said, Mike McCarthy needs to make it to the Super Bowl. If he does not make it to the Super Bowl, he is off the contract. Dak Prescott needs to make it to the NFC Championship game. He will get an extension. If he does not make it to the NFC Championship game, we are going to try Trey Lance, and Dak is going somewhere else. Or Dak is going to get significantly less money than what he is wanting and what the market says because he just can't win. That's why I think he's not going to want that. He's going to want to go. Even though I defend Dak and I think he's a great man and he's one of the best leaders in the game. I don't care what you say. Dak Prescott is one, if not the best leader of men in the freaking NFL. The way he gets his players to go, his heartfelt speeches before and after games, his post-game press conferences are great. His pre-game press conferences are great. I love the way he leads. The problem is he just does not come to play for some reason, and that's not always on him. But, man, sometimes it is on him. So I think if he doesn't get to an NFC Championship game and is not competitive in it, then I don't think he gets a contract. I think Trey Lance comes in. But we have a lot of question marks. Back to the first question, CeeDee Lamb. If we don't sign him a contract next year, I think we are the worst franchise in NFL history because we're going to let we're going to let the top 3 wide receiver. In my book, he's the best wide receiver in the game. He's fast. He's the best route runner in the game. There's one person you can maybe say is better than him, and I'm sorry. Tyreek Hill, the only thing that is speed. He's not a great route runner. You see it. He's not a jump ball. He's not, because if you looked at his tape, he's really not. He gets people. You know why his routes are so great and he gets wide open? He's fast as hell. He just moves and goes and he's gone. That's not a route. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, those two. Devontae Adams is up there still top 5, but he's getting older. You could see it. But you see it. When they make a move, it's a move. There's no Tyreek Hill goes like this. He goes in and out and goes. He's gone. CeeDee Lamb needs to set up its leverage. It's called where you're going to plant your foot. Where's the foot's going to the different spots? Where's the leverage of the defender? And how are you going to make the leverage of the defender offset you so you can get that route and get that inside or that outside cut? There's a lot to go in of being a wide receiver. It's not just a run and gun. Tyreek Hill is of advantage because he really doesn't have to do a lot of moves. He just needs to make one move and go. In basketball, a lot of the coaches say one move and go, not with all the crazy dribble, just one move and go, and you're going to get by your guy. That's what Tyreek does. One move and go. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, they actually run legitimate routes, and you see it. That's why those two are the best wide receivers in the game. You could say Tyreek is because he statistically is the best wide receiver last year and the last couple years. But route running, speed, jump ball ability, I got to give it to Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. Those two to me are tied at 1. Tyreek's at 2, and I got Devontae at 3.
All right. So I know you said you had something coming up soon, so I'm going to ask you one last question. Then afterwards, I'm going to go to commercial break. And so I'll give you, answer any questions you might have or call it a day because I know you have somewhere to be.
Yep.
But this final question is going to be more towards this is more of a college question. This one is a fun one, a more interesting one that fell under the radar for a lot of people. But the NCAA announced they will no longer keep marijuana as a tested drug against college athletes. So you are no longer going to be in trouble now if you test positive for marijuana, which we've seen a lot, not only college athletes, but pro athletes come out and say, they are medical and recreational use marijuana as a supplement to help with a lot of the injuries they succumb during playing their sport. One of the more famous ones of recent, Sha'Carri Richardson didn't make a Olympic team because of testing positive, or didn't win a world championship because of testing positive for marijuana. And a famous football player that has came out and said that he was always using during his career. Megatron, a Hall of Famer, said that he was also somebody that was like that. And now with all the podcasts, you have a lot of NBA players coming out and saying that they go into games under the influence, or right after games they partake in marijuana to recover. So I just wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that this could be a backfiring effect for the NCAA? Because yes, marijuana is starting to become recreationally legalized across the country, but it hasn't been put on the federal exemption list. It's still a federal drug. It's not legal federally. It is only to each state to pick. So do you think this could be a backfiring effect for the NCAA, where you see athletes that are under the influence all the time, getting in car accidents high in the middle of games? Like, is there any fear the NCAA has to look out for, or will this be a benefit for the NCAA?
Great question, X. I think it's a bit of both. If I can answer that question, I'll literally say why it's a bit of both. Now there has been problems and whatever. Now I'm really more of when it comes to the pros, they have money. They have limos. They have security. They have these people, the chauffeurs and the driver, whatever. So they really, now again, college now with the NIL deals and all this crap, they have that stuff too. Mm-hmm. But their brains are not fully developed. Yeah. We all know this. Their brains are not fully developed. It's actually stated in literally the science of our brains. It's not fully developed when you're in college. What's the brain developed? What, 25, 26?
I think for men it's 25. For women it's a little bit younger, but for men your frontal lobe doesn't fully develop until about like 25, almost 30.
Yeah. So again, these guys are going to be. That's why the NBA are now they're still stupid. They're all delusional. They're crazy, nuts, but whatever. But you don't see Kevin Durant getting into car accident. You don't see Kevin Durant doing some crazy stuff. He gets high before the games. He gets high after the games. He gets high all the time. He's whatever. We've multiple players. What's his name? Barnes. Matt Barnes. Podcast. Kevin Garnett has a podcast, and he literally smokes while he's doing the podcast with Paul Pierce. Like all these guys, they have money. They have their brains are fully developed. This is why I think it's a good thing, because you don't have in trouble like big games. Let's say like Rob Dillingham got suspended because he was under the influence of marijuana before a game or after a game, and the NCAA called him and Kentucky called him, and he's out for a couple games in big games, March Madness, whatever the case is, just in general, an example. But that could really go nuts, because that's one of your best players out because of something that's in some states legal. I understand why they did it, but at the same time, I would agree why it might backfire, because they're not fully developed.
Side question though, do you think that money-wise, this could be a benefit for NCAA? Because now with the NIL and other things, you could reap the reward of business deals with dispensaries, marijuana brands. You could really, this could be another avenue for a lot of money. If you know that, let's say 60% of all Division I athletes are recreational marijuana users. This could be a bag in itself. Do you think that could be something that NCAA looks towards, or are you just thinking they're kids, they're going to make mistakes that could be life-altering, not only to themselves, but life-altering to others?
Now, personally, I think me and you would probably go with both. Like, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. Hold on.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I will definitely say while he's handling that, I would definitely I'm going to say that I think it's actually a very interesting move from the NCAA. I think it's something where they're definitely seeing that everybody's moving towards legalization, and because everything moving towards legalization, they want to be able to get ahead of the curve and not be hitting their brake while on the curve. That's how you twist and throw your car all around. You break up before you hit the turn, and you ease up the opportunity of you getting in an accident. So I definitely think the NCAA is trying to get ahead of the curve in the world of sports and marijuana, because that's still a early bird type of conversation.
Yep.
But I definitely think that there are risks to it. Being a college student, I know what I see on campus. I've seen, people. I was just recently, this has nothing to do with being on campus. I was just recently in a car accident.
Yeah.
And it was a young kid, 24 years old, rear-ended me while I was in the car with my girlfriend. Shout out Chanel, love you, honey. We were on the Parkway, and we stopped because we were at the toll plaza about to pay right before the Maplewood exit, and we were rear-ended. And when I went to speak to the kid, sounded like, or smelled like, and from the way he was speaking and moving, he was high. So you're going to have situations where these kids are going to make mistakes. They're going to make real big mistakes, and they could be life altering to the point where, death comes into play, unfortunately, for these college students, because that's something that happens a lot. College is not easy for some people. The mental fortitude you have to make it through 4 years of college, depending on your degree, it takes a lot for certain people, especially if you're somebody that wants to be a valedictorian, salutatorian. You're working so hard, you try to find a way to release. You use marijuana, and say you're an athlete, you're a 4.0 offensive lineman, you get too high for the first time ever, you kill somebody, you go through a stop sign, or you don't see a traffic light, or you don't see a parked car. So you could see those situations while driving under the influence could be an issue. There are not too many cases of overdosing on marijuana to somebody dying, but like somebody could have a heart attack being too anxious, being too paranoid of the feeling of marijuana. So I think it is, like you said, a double-edged sword.
Yep.
You could very much so make a lot of money in this case, but you could also end up losing a lot of money. But go ahead and continue on what you were saying before.
So when you did the side question, I actually was going to get into it. The only reason why they're doing this is because of this.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap. I'm sorry. They don't give two shits. Excuse my language. They don't care really about their student. They don't. The NCAA does not care about anybody. They care about making money. I'm sorry. That's literally legitimate. All the top things, the government could care less about us. They don't. If me and you, X, died tomorrow, we would be a little statistic on a paper. The only people that are going to care are our friends, our neighbors, and our family. That's it. And maybe the people that are on my podcast that are both our podcasts that actually like listening to us. Those are the only other people that are going to give a crap if we die tomorrow. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But that's what it is. So the fact that NCAA is doing this is only because they want to make money. This is because they can get those endorsements. They can get those deals with this, that, and the other thing. That's why they're doing this. So they don't have to get somebody down their neck saying, oh, well, you can't deal with this marijuana crap. You don't do this. You don't do that. Well, there's a problem here. How are we going to fix this? Oh, well, let's just make it legal. No, because again, a case in point, you got into an accident to probably the kid that was high because he's not paying attention or he's crazy high and he can't see nothing or doesn't know what's in front of him. He probably thought that he was going to the toll and just had to stop, and they didn't see a freaking car in the middle of the toll booth. Like, I don't understand how you can do that. So I personally think it's all about money. And that's really the name of the game of the sports world and just in general of businesses and corporations. It's all about money. They don't care. They really don't. And like our college, Montclair, they want their money. They really don't care. Like the higher ups. I'm not talking to professors. I'm not talking to the counselors. I'm talking the higher up. Like no offense, but all colleges just really don't care. They just want the money.
Yeah.
You can maybe run into certain people, certain presidents that actually care, but most of the people, the big schools like Rutgers, Seton Hall, the monster D1 big schools, they want their money. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it's very unfortunate, but it also is fortunate that they legalized for athletes to be able to manage injury a lot better. But I know our time is coming up. You got to be somewhere. We just want to say thank you here on Coin Toss for you joining in. Hopefully we can make this like an every Friday thing. You could join
I'd love to do that. That would be awesome.
And we could keep having you on as a guest host. Do you want to give any information to the people before you head out? Go ahead and plug your stuff.
So again, guys, thanks again to X. I appreciate all the support that he's given me and all the support I'm happy to give to his podcast. This man's the real deal. Definitely keep tuning in to Coin Toss. Man's working hard. I know what he's doing behind the scenes and his team. So definitely shout out him on my podcast as well. If you guys going to tune into somebody else's podcast with mine as well, me and him are going to be doing some collaborations. Join on Coin Toss. You'll see it on TikTok. Well, are you on YouTube as well?
Yes, I am on YouTube as well. I've been trying to settle out what we're going to do with the YouTube content. Probably going to start doing, like I said, I want to do lives on like Wednesday evenings for Coin Toss. That might be TikTok content. And then we might just do the audios of these episodes go on the YouTube so everybody could just listen in on YouTube.
Nice.
But the clips from the episode will be on TikTok.
Nice. So, yeah, just to shout out my guys. Again, thanks to X for having me on his show today on Coin Toss. At the Fire Sports Pod, you guys can find us on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Apple Podcasts, you could just put the Fire Sports Pod, and Spotify, you guys will be able to see it there. On YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, you'll be able to find me, the Fire Sports Pod. So definitely take a look, drop a follow, drop a subscribe, drop a like, and I appreciate all that X has done to promote my show. And I'm happy to promote his because we're trying to do something that not a lot of people can do at our age. We're both go-getters. I know X, you're a little bit older than I am.
Just a tad bit now, unfortunately, after this weekend.
But I'm only 20, and X is not far from there. So we're both two go-getters that are really trying to make it in life, and I believe both of us want this to be one of our careers. So keep supporting us, man, because me and X we're going somewhere. I know we can. I know I have it. I've already manifested it. I know I'm definitely going somewhere, and I bet X has done the same. So I think both of us are going somewhere. So you definitely should jump on the ride, because if you're not on the ride, I'm sorry, you can't ride this roller coaster if you're not already going to be on it right now in the beginning. Because if not, sorry, but just goodbye. Screw you. I don't need you. I want the people that actually care. The first 2,000 followers are the people that care. And then once you get farther than that, then it's just like, all right, those aren't really the people. You know who those people are in those first couple hundred followers to 1,000 followers.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming on today. You know, for myself, I'm here in the studio by myself. So always when I'm able to get another voice in here, it's a lot better than talking to myself for 2 hours. So I'm going to let you go, Zach. I really appreciate everything for you joining in. Hopefully we'll have you back on next Friday. If not, we could figure something else out. Maybe do the Wednesday thing like we were talking about. So
yeah,
once again,
hold on. Can I shout out one more thing?
Go ahead.
So, you guys can find my show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll always be on TikTok Live unless TikTok decides to ban me. I don't know why. They just decide to ban me.
Shadow banding. It's the worst.
It's ridiculous. I don't know why, but it just sucks. It's just terrible. I really wish they wouldn't ban me because I have good content. I had the NBA Finals. I had like 300 people watching my freaking live, and halftime came, and then a betting commercial came on, and then they banned me.
That's how quick it will go. They'll pull
I was like, yo, what the hell, man?
They'll pull you quickly. Trust me.
Not,
I'm on Instagram Live. I have to pause and turn the mic off when I start playing music here in the studio because they'll pull me.
Really? I haven't been taken off of Instagram, and I've actually had some pretty harsh language being thrown on.
Oh, not even language. It's just copyright, I feel. Copyright.
Really? Okay, yeah. Because I was doing the NBA finals and all the commercials. I didn't get banned.
I might start doing that myself. Might start.
Yeah. But obviously now we're kind of over. But I'm gonna be streaming my live the MLB games for the Yankees.
Who are now the children of my New York Mets.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That'll be for another show. But I want to say thank you so much, Zach. We will have you on soon again. Definitely. And for everybody, once again, if you guys want to tune into Zach's show, he is live on TikTok all the time, like he said. You can find him on everything else at the Fire Sports Podcast. That's where you find him on all socials. And if you want to tune in, you can tune in Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And Fridays, he'll probably be in with us, so you could tune in that way. Once again, Zach Jackson, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, X. Appreciate it. See you.
See ya.
All right, guys, that's pretty much it for my show. Appreciate all the support. 1.9K likes. Appreciate Aiden for jumping on the ride. I appreciate it, my brother. And thank you for staying in and watching the show. Definitely a pleasure, and I'll be going live sooner rather than later. Peace out, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Peace out.